Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pocho Podcast. Special last, last minute edition, inspired by Walter Franco. Well, inspired by others as well, but recent Twitter drama on the Liga MX English family and community. But first, let me tell you a story. One time, so I've been working laying bricks in construction with my bare hands for over 20 years now. And after doing this type of hard labor and work, just getting beat up, my hands just calloused and getting cut from, when early on lifting these bricks and heavy objects and stacking them in cement and being using my hands day in and day out. These hands are just like it's like I have gloves on. They're not just hands, they're weathered, strong gloves that, I had my son and he was doing some paperwork, paying some bills, and he goes, "Dad, man, I got a paper cut." I was like, "Mijo, what is a paper cut, man? What is a paper cut?" I showed him my hands. I said, "You think I know what a paper cut is? Look at these hands." And as I grabbed his hand, he said, "Oh, Dad, those hands are so rough, and you scratched me." So the point of this story, the moral of the story is sometimes we get hardened with life. We get hardened when we see our team lose to the MLS, when we see Mexico lose once again to Argentina, when we see our beloved, in my case, Denver Broncos lose 2 Super Bowls in a row, when we see Michael Jordan, my favorite player in the world, start his career in the Chicago Bulls and get spanked left and right in the playoffs. Sure, they got this little win against the Cleveland Cavaliers by a last-minute shot from Michael Jordan, only to get demolished by in the next series against the Detroit Pistons and other teams. Things happen that make us tough, make us strong, make our feelings understand and put in perspective all these things like losses. So what is going on here in the Liga MX community is a little bit of that. Sometimes when we suffer a loss and we see the Liga MX team lose, we think, oh, MLS is really going to surpass. MLS is really going to be better. And let's look at this tweet here from Francisco. And Francisco's my homie. I had him on the podcast. He says, "Your team failed us all," and added the Lions Den podcast, which is a Leon fan. Leon lost. As a Liga MX fan, we want Liga MX to always beat MLS. I was in this boat watching the game. I was like, actually, last week on the Cantina podcast, I was, okay, 2-0. We're still going back to LA. LAFC is at home. They could still very well pull this thing off. And I think they might. And they did. And, it's no surprise. It sort of stings a little bit as a Liga MX fan. But I'd rather see LAFC play Cruz Azul. That's going to be some excitement. So who cares, man? I'm no Leon fan. Even if they were to beat my Pumas, okay, it happens. This tweet by Francisco caused a stir in the evening time, and as you can see below, the tweet is unavailable. There was a couple of tweets that were deleted. Now, when it comes to deleted tweets, I always believe on social media. If you're going to tweet something, think about it. Would you ever want to remove that tweet? Would you ever want to delete that tweet? Before you tweet something, is it something that you really want to have out there? And I might have some stuff that's out there. I don't believe I have ever deleted a tweet yet, other than for typo reasons. But for regret after tweeting something, I don't think I've ever done that. I try to be very careful. I won't mention what these tweets were about, but you can tell in the context or who they were from. But I guess what they were about, excluding this type of comment. This is sort of like a pretty good jab to the Leon fan base, and if they're hurting, you expect some reaction, and that's what occurred here. There was a reaction, sort of excluding Francisco from the Liga MX community. Like you aren't part of this community or something to that extent. Also, another jab from a different individual who's a homie as well, that I think is deleted also, pretty much stating, well, his team probably never even made a important tournament or competition, which Francisco's team is either, like we discussed on the podcast, Puebla or Xolos, which is, and then Francisco, it's not here, but he admitted that that was probably true as well, that his team, Puebla or Xolos, would probably never make a big tournament like Leon did. Although Xolos has won a championship, maybe he was referring to Puebla. So so here we have a comment from Dan, like, he's responding to this deleted tweet, sort of saying, siding, not really siding with Francisco, but sort of saying, like, who are you to say who is not part and who is part of the Liga MX English community? Uh, and he goes to say, if you lose to an MLS side, sort of take it on the chin and expect some sort of harassment or, some negative tweets and things like that. So it goes to the hardening part, and I think we're all at different stages of our life where it affects us differently. I know my homie Rigo, man, with his 49ers loss. After a while, he was a little bit quiet there. So we are at different stages, but as we go on through life and we have these experiences, we learn from them. We delete our tweets. We, try to let it just slide off. Let the haters just slide. Let the replies just brush off. We sometimes receive a lot of praise. Our Liga Mix community is really small. We see praise and we see like you know people applauding our efforts in our work, our podcast that we create, or we have a Leon podcast, we have an English Mexican soccer podcast. You guys are doing a great job. You're really part of the community, and we pat each other on the back. Sometimes we're not all nice and friendly with pats on the back, or we don't give props out. I did a tweet just purposely to try to unite today, which is something that I never do. I never, usually give out props, but I do absorb all this Liga MX English community podcasts. I do absorb Chivas del Norte. I do absorb Footnext Nation. I do absorb and watch their content and appreciate their content. I don't always hit the little heart button to pat you on the back. I don't always do that, but I'm there watching it and I'm appreciating it and I'm taking in the interviews, I'm taking in the videos. And sure, I might do a little jab to Weezbro and say, like, estás haciendo los mandados, and just have a little fun. But it's all good. It's nothing bad willed or, uh, you know, with insults. I'll never personally insult, and I'll never say your team failed or your team will never at least get to this type of point. Things that are reactionary in type of an anger mode. Sometimes we see people try to say, "Look at my clout." Look at my engagements or interactions in the English community for Mexican soccer, which goes to there's all kinds of levels. Some podcasts in the Liga MX English community have you know higher amounts of views and or higher amounts of likes on their Twitter pages or on their Facebook pages or on their podcast views and things like that. But we're all in this community together. I don't think anyone other than maybe Hurt Gomez, Rodolfo Landeros, or these guys that are on TV, nobody has given up their daytime job to do this. In the Liga MX English community, no one has given up their daytime. Name me a person who has given up their daytime job to have a podcast, which, is free and easy for anyone in the world to do. Anyone can do a podcast. But can anyone be on TV like Rodolfo Landeros? Can anyone be on ESPN like Herc Gomez? Tom Marshall is the biggest guy in this community, and he is on ESPN print, online, but not TV. And he is the top dude. And other dudes who have jobs like myself, who do this as like a side gig or a hobby, get zero pay or little pay, sit right next to a guy like Tom Marshall in the press box. Tom does this full time. Tom works and does great jobs, but the English content is not on some TV channel where Tom is the host and Tom is on TV 20, that I'm able to put on the DVR and watch on DirecTV. When you are talking about English Mexican soccer coverage, it's not on TV. It's either on Spanish or it's an MLS channel. Hurt Gomez does a lot of Spanish work because that's where the demand is. The English work, maybe it's on the LAFC channel on YouTube, not on TV. So this English community, when you try to say, I have clout, I have these followers, and you don't, well, that's great. You might have a little bit, but I can find 50 million other people who have a ton more clout than you. The English language Liga MX community is just a community. It's like a message board. We might get to go to, like games. We might get to cover games as press, but we're not leaving our main jobs for it because it doesn't provide. So that's just a little side issue that I'm going here. But this, I think anyone going here to Eugene, he brings some words of reason here, which is sort of interesting. Francisco asks the question: is he really a part of the community? Because it was put into question. And Eugene responds: if you tweet about, talk about, or write about Liga MX in English, then yes. If you use the hashtag Liga MX ENG, you're part of the community. It could be some random fan. It could be some little, 12-year-old kid tweeting and just happens to put the hashtag. And then you're part of the community. You're in there. There is no exclusionary. There is no, you're not really part of it. You're disowned or you're out of here. Sure, you might offend people. Sure, people might not like you. Sure, people might, block you or not follow you because of what you tweet and stuff. And I know I might fall into this case, but you're there. You're part of the community. And sure, there's clicks like in any other thing. And there's clicks like, this group or this group pats each other on the back so much so that we're the in group, we're part of this, and we might have these types of privileges, and we have these types of following. The thing is, we just need to have fun. This is all about enjoying soccer, enjoying Mexican League, enjoying the Mexican national team, enjoying this interaction. And yes, we might have disagreements and we might have jabs, but let's try not to be insulting or personal. Let's try not to get things personal. So when someone says, like Francisco said, man, you really failed us. You ruined it for us. Yes, we did. Okay. See you later. Ignore it. Whenever you get huge, like if one little tweet from one guy bothers you, if you were to get huge and to have millions of followers, imagine reading thousands of hate tweet replies to you. Imagine having to implement the philosophy of I am never going to read replies. Never. So we are just a small community. We have little clout in the big picture of things. You can't go to other podcasts and say, look at my clout, look at my engagements, look at my followings. We are just a little community. We are meager. All of us are meager. Now, when one of us gets on national TV and we quit our job and we're in front of the camera with makeup crew and all this and soccer and English, Mexican soccer and English is like the main thing in the United States, then I can say, okay, you're up there, look down on us little dudes. You're the man, but we're all a small community. We're all trying to do things. So all this cliquish types of things, it's it's weird. Dan says mean spirited, weird thing to say. Uh, you know, we got to be able to take insults. We got to not insults, personal insults, but little jabs to our team, little jabs to the spirit of the sport. Getting personal is something that I never ever try to do. Personal insults. That's where you gotta keep things off. emotional reactions. Keep that stuff in check. With time, it'll come. With time, understand when we're young. Like I was saying, we need time to be hardened. We need time to let things let our skin become thick. Like if you're eating a steak that's well done or has been overcooked, that steak's gonna be hard to bite into. It's not gonna have thin skin like sometimes we have. Get offended easily, get upset, and respond in a uh, in a way that we got up off of the wrong side of the bed. So that's the purpose of this episode of the Pocho Podcast. Keep this community united. Get rid of the cliques or the I'm better than you are type of attitude or the you're not in this community type of attitude. If we get offended, brush it off or ignore the person, uh, or try to understand where the person is coming from. Uh, Francisco says my DMs are open. How would it feel like if someone insults you to take it to a DM instead of just blocking someone and saying, man, I do not like that dude, blocked, unfollowed? No, what about saying, dude, DM him. What's the problem with you? What's going on? I feel this way or that way. Why do you tweet this to me? Resolve it. Because what if one day you're in two seats next to each other in the press box at a game? What are you gonna do then? You're gonna be all quiet, or are you gonna say, "Hey man, what's up?" Like any of these guys that I see that I might troll or might have a little fun with, like Weso and Amy and anyone that's in this community, Rigo or whoever. If I'm ever in New York or in LA or in Arizona or in any type of game and I see a dude, man, there's no problem that I would go up and say hello, how's it going? If you want to talk about like some issues, then we'll talk about some issues. Like, man, that tweet was messed up, or why'd you do this, or why you insulting my podcast and stuff. Then let's hash it out, dude. Hash it out in person, hash it out in DM, whatever to make this community united and let the bad feelings just wash away. So hopefully we can get to that point. Hopefully, with maturity, with age, maybe I'm talking like an old man, like a boomer or whatever that you know, has a little bit of experience and doesn't care about, like having all the clout, having all the engagements, being in the main cliques of the League MX English community, or you know, if someone insults me, then I'm gonna delete my Twitter account. I can't be on the internet. It's too toxic. Toxic, whatever it is, man. Just deal with it. Go on, have a good time. It's all about the lols. It's all about laughing. When I put that lol tweet or lol emoji on my tweets, that's for real, dude. I am not joking around. It is all about having fun, having a smile on your face, enjoying negative, positive, funny memes, funny Nahuel Guzman antics, funny things that happen. Chivas losing again or whatever happens. Enjoy it. Have fun. Even if your team loses humiliatingly to the MLS side. Oh well, we'll come back another day. It's all good at the end. So, last words for the League MX and English community. Peace, dudes. Peace to all of you.